topic today is language. Uh, I would like to begin with the definition of language. Language is simply defined as the conventional articulated system of arbitrary vocal sounds, symbols, and signals employed by human beings in the voluntary expression of thoughts, ideas, feelings, beliefs, culture, attitudes, or sharing of information. I'll repeat that definition again. I'll repeat that definition again. It is a conventional articulated system of arbitrary vocal sounds, symbols, signals employed by human beings in the voluntary expression of thoughts, ideas, feelings, culture, beliefs, attitudes, or sharing of information. Of course, language is a convention because it is how some of us, when all humans, when we're born, nobody was born with a language. We grew up in a culture or in a gathering where the language is being spoken by the people there, it becomes our language. So, and that is why a child that is born, a Yoruba child born in Nigeria, in a Yoruba family, ends up speaking Yoruba fluently than any other language. Than as different from a child, a Yoruba family who goes to the UK and raises a child in that environment will likely speak the English, the predominant language of that environment. Why? Because language is conventional. It's a conventional system of articulated what arbitrary sounds and vocal symbols. In the sense that it is voluntarily what it is a system that are put together in a certain way. That is why you can spell boy as BOY. It cannot become YOB because it's a system that has been been existing even before you as an individual, even before you were born. Then it's a signal that employed by is a signal because there are signals. Signals are the written words we use to communicate apart from the sounds used by what human beings. Let me also let you understand that it is only human being God gave that innate capacity to use language. Animals do not use language. It's only God, it is in his own infinite wisdom that he gave man or human beings the ability to use language for what? For the voluntary expression of self. Whether you want to express your feeling, your excitement, your anger, your displeasure, or your happiness, language becomes a what? An instrument to achieve that. And that is why God, and again, like some scholars say, because God wants to have a regular communication with human beings, therefore he gave us language. Then the next one is the concept of language. The question I often ask my students is that, do we even need a language as human beings at all? Yes, because language is a facility that we use every day as human beings to make sense of our life experiences, especially how it facilitates social interactions with others. You see, our life experiences are more expressed when we use language. Imagine if there is no language, eh? It will become difficult for us to be able to express our fears, our joy, our excitement, and others. Even it helps us in facilitating social interactions with others. I often tell students, especially undergraduates, when you come to an environment, a new environment, especially a campus environment, do not isolate yourself. Use language to make friends, to mingle with people. When you meet people, especially your classmates or your classmates, greet them. When they greet you, greet them. Make friends, know people, your classmates' names and what they like. Communicate with people. When they are celebrating their birthday, greet them. When they are felicitating or doing something good, use language to network. Well, because that is the purpose for which God gave man, our human beings, the language. So our happiest moment often manifests when we use language effectively and effortlessly to accomplish a personal desire and a personal desire and a personal desire. Okay, so to achieve certain goals. So if you look at our world today, our world is made beautiful because of what? The aesthetics of language, how we use language creatively and effortlessly. So I should also let you understand that the human language operates with and controls our mind. Apart from the fact that it helps us to make sense of our life experiences and facilitate social interactions, it also controls our minds. Okay, for example, our language influences our experiences of the world. The way you perceive the world is sometimes influenced by how the thing is described. For example, some of us grew up to see the devil as black with horns on his head and with a long tail. No, some of as the child then, because and we have that mental picture of what the devil is based on the description given to us in the language that we understand. That is not the and because language has a way of controlling our mind. And it's when we grow up that we know that the devil is not that kind of a creature. The devil is a beautiful creature. Even another way that even apart from being a child, even as an adult, when you are driving on the highway, maybe you are late for an appointment in Ibadan, and you needed to get to the place in less than an hour. You are not driving at 120 kilometers per hour on Lagos Ibadan Expressway, and suddenly you see bombs ahead by the roadside. Nothing will tell you to slow down because you have read something that controls your mind to tell you that there is something ahead of you that you need to be watchful of. So that is the power of language, ability to control our mind. Sometimes we want to buy something we never had the intention of. In fact, marketers are the ones that use language a lot effectively. They have a way of making you see things in a different way. So what you never wanted to buy, you end up buying it even though you never needed it at all. So language is a very powerful tool that controls our mind. Therefore, it is important that we use it as human beings, because it can make us what it can help us to make a sense of our experience, our life experiences. It can also help us to what it can also help us to it can facilitate social interactions with others. It can also control our mind. Politicians use language today to achieve whatever they want to achieve. They mean, even though they have the different intention in mind, they make the people to believe something else because they understand the power of language. Therefore, language is key in our everyday life. Then what are the characteristics of language? Number one is that language is arbitrary. Arbitrary in the sense that it is what there is no apparent natural connection between what a word is called and the object. For example, when you say, okay, this is a marker, okay, this is a pen, okay, this is a pen. The manufacturer of this item called this a pen. So when I say, okay, Tunde, I need a pen, I do not expect you to go and bring a phone. Why? Because we have Tunde has associated this object with the name pen. So therefore, I do not expect the child to go and give me a phone. So because when you look at the object, there is nothing that resembles pen with the object. So it therefore tells us that there is this arbitrariness between what a thing is, what an object is, and what it is called. Even your name, nobody came to this world with a name. So it was after you were giving birth to that you grew up to know that your name is Tunde, or your parents made you understand that your name is Tunde. So your name so there is no resemblance between you and the name. It's just a way of what identifying you or associating you among a crowd of people. Then another feature of language, apart from arbitrariness, is productivity. Every language has a way of bringing new expressions or creating and producing new expressions. New expressions are especially in this information age. There are so many new expressions nowadays than before, because language has that power to be able to create new expressions or produce new terms and for us to be able to use in our social interactions. Then so it produces itself. Any language that cannot reproduce itself will die natural death within a short space of time. So language is productive. Then the next one is what language is symbolic. Symbolic in the sense that every language has characters that are relative to it. For example, the way the Yoruba words are written or the way the Igbo words are written is different from the way the English words are written. Why? Because the Yoruba symbols of expressions are different from that of the Igbo. The Igbo people's symbols of expression are different from that of the English people. The same way the Europeans, even among the Europeans, the way the French write is different from the way the Russian write. So because every language is symbolic, has the word, even the Chinese has their own word. The Mandarin, they speak what the language called Mandarin. The way they represent their language is different from that of the Americans. So this shows that every language is symbolic, so that the users can make sense of what they are speaking or writing. Then the next one is what every human language is systematic. You see, the system is what makes a language. So when the speakers or the users of a language says the word boy is spelled B-O-Y, You cannot say because you are the oldest or you are the richest among the speakers of the language, therefore say you want to spell your boy as YBO. No, it means something else. So it doesn't make sense to other users. Therefore, because it is a system, that is a conventional system that all users of the language use to what to express themselves. Even when you are writing your sentence, there is a way that the subject must come before the verb, and the verb must come before the object and the complement, and so on and so forth. That is the system that the language adopts. Every language adopts. Then the next one is the human language is subject to change. Yes, it's just subject to. In fact, the English language is the most interesting language that has been that can be used to demonstrate how change is part of the feature of the as one of the features of human language. It change in the sense that because we have what we call the Old English period spoken, we have what we call the Middle English, we have the modern day English. So these are different phases that the English language has undergone for centuries. So these are, and what is this change? Transformation. Even the Yoruba, even the Yoruba language has also undergone the same transformation. So because we have what we call the Oyo Yoruba language. So we can go on and on and on. What is most important is that we must understand is that language is subject to change. Then we should also understand that language is transferable from one generation to another. And that is why you and I can speak our native language today, because it has been transferred to us by our parents. So it is more important that we should understand that language is transferable. Because if a child grows up in the environment, in an Igbo speaking environment, therefore the child will adopt that language naturally, because the language is transferable. There is this inherent capacity to be transferred from one generation to another, and that's what can keep the language. Any language that is not transferable will die a natural death. Therefore, human language is transferable. Then the last one is human language is the symbol of identity. So the language you speak tells us, or is an indication of who you are or where you are from. So every human language symbolizes the social group or ethnic background that the speaker belongs to, voluntarily or involuntarily. So there are certain linguistic manifestations or expressions that reflect the social status or class of the speaker. In fact, apart from showing your social your ethnic background, maybe you are Yoruba or you are Igbo or you are Hausa, it also shows your social economic power. Professors speak better English than people who are traders on the street. Okay, so it's a symbol of identity that is also another feature of the human language. Then what are the functions of the human language? Number one feature is that it is used as an instrument of thought. I do not know what is on your mind except you express yourself. So it is an instrument of thought. We use it to communicate what is on our mind. It is also a means of cultural transmission. Our culture can only be transmitted through our language. So it's a function of the human language. Another function is also an instrument of socialization. Like I said earlier on, we use language to communicate, to make friends, to communicate and mingle with others, especially those who speak the language with us. So it's an instrument of socialization. Then the next one is also language used for record keeping. Another function of language is for record keeping. We use it to jot down our notes. We use it to do other things because we are what? Because we need it to be able to write and recall whatever information we have. Then the last but not the least is that language is used to express power relations. We also use language to express power relations. So power is the ability to control others. You can use language to give command. You can use the language to rebuke someone. You can use language to coerce or control or manipulate or dominate or influence somebody. So because it is one of the functions of the human language. Now, then the next topic is the use of language in Nigeria. The use of English language in Nigeria. Yes, There are three major factors that is responsible for the use of English language in Nigeria. Number one is our trade experience, trade expedition. When the white people came to the western part of the country for trade reasons and to get raw materials into their countries so that they can power their industries, they needed to speak a language with us, with the natives of the land. Therefore, they introduced the English language. Another reason is missionary adventurism. Those who went back to tell the story of how those Africans were worshiping idols came with the mentality that they want to come and evangelize, bring light to the world, to the dark world. Therefore, they came with their missionary intention to what to lead us to heaven and to preach to us and help us to know to lead us to God. Therefore, they brought the English language. Then the third experience is our colonial experience. Because we have been colonized by the English speaking people, therefore English language, we adopted the English language as our official language. Now, what are the functions or the uses of English language in Nigeria? English is the language of commerce and industry. It is also the language of the media. It is the language of law. It is also the language of science and technology. It's also the language of education because it's a means of instruction in schools and also written materials. It is also the language of government. Whether your government is a Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa person, whether your president is a Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa, he addresses the nation in the English language because it's the language of the government. Even your governor, when he addresses the resident of the state, he uses the English language, regardless of where the person is from. Why? Because we have adopted the English language as our official language. It's also the language of research. Our research are conducted and recorded in what? In English. When we attend conferences, research proposals and grants and granting aids are recorded in English. Ladies and gentlemen, I will end the lecture now. So please drop your questions and your comments on the platform. I will respond to them appropriately. Thank you.